Well, and here we are again on part 3 and last for The Veil Hath Fallen. And today, I'm gonna continue on where we left the last time regarding the Mythic and Tick. What do they mean? How do they work? The amount of grift that has happened since, well, the last administration took over. And by the last administration, I mean on the first term and now on the second term, and how everybody around them are let's say profiteering from your demise and your destruction, financially, spiritually, and all the other ones. So as I was saying before, when the previous video cut, 50% of the dollars that have been printed in the history of the United States of America, well, in the history of the US dollar, were printed when the COVID situation happened. And as I told you before, remember, the government, this big huge apparatus, is always looking for ways to impoverish you through taxation, as I said earlier, and through the printing, which is a power that they gave themselves in 1972 when Richard Nixon got us off of the gold standard, and now they can print money out of the thin air. And that creates, once again, two classes of people: the ones that do not have to do nothing to have money and get money, which you are not part of it, by the way, and the other class of people like me and you, that have to work or have to exchange something for money. Therefore, this is an analogy. There is a class of people that can glide through the air and move way faster and earn much more with zero effort, while you are left rowing in a all heavy wooden boat through water. And on top of that, not only water, but water that is not very calm on top of that. So obviously the one flying through the air in a very fast plane, because air is thin and you can glide through it way easier than rowing through water, are meant to move and go faster than you can even dream about. But you don't see that. Going back to the whole government looking for ways. So when Trump came in, once again, it's the same coin, just a different face. They start looking for ways how they can continue to impoverish you through taxation and the printing press. So war was extremely unpopular because, well, we just got off of a war, and there was no appetite, and people are waking up to all these scams. After all, people are waking up to all of these, and they do understand that most of your resources are being stolen from you through taxation and printing, inflation, and then they could not execute any other wars at the time. So Trump got elected on the premise that he was gonna finish the wars that they were in already, and not starting new wars. But then if he did that, then how do they have to come up with something so they can enslave you even more, which is the purpose, and keep you poor and dependent. So they came up with this fantastic idea of a pandemic, because they are brilliant in their minds. and they own money. They can do anything. They can do anything as it goes. There is nothing that they cannot, in their minds, that they cannot make do. So they came up with this idea and they built this pandemic thing, which is fake, which it was fake, and they managed to enrich a bunch of people. As I said before, 50% of the dollars that were printed throughout the history of the United States of America, which it just turned to 250 years now, were printed on that particular. And I'm making sure I drive this point so you do get it. This is important. Now, with the amount of money that was printed, 50% of the dollars in the history of the United States of America, we're not talking about $1 billion or $2 billion. No, this is 50%, up to 248. I don't know. Wait, 240. I don't know. I'm not gonna do the math right now. Up to 240 years. At that point, 50% of the dollars only have been printed of what there was in circulation after that point on. So it took 240, give it or take, years to get to that amount of debt and printing. And then from 240, and then in a year or two, let's say, because the printing press hasn't stopped, as a matter of fact, but let's say in the next 2 years, 240, 2 years, 240, 50%, 2 years, the other 50. Ridiculous. I mean, it's mind-boggling. So the amount of money that was printed at the time, was enough to give, as I said before, every man, child, and woman of this country $14,000 or $15,000, if I remember right. $14,000 or $15,000 in that area. Instead of that, what you got was a $1,400 check, and then maybe another $600 check. Now, you obviously, if you're listening and you're thinking, you have to be concerned where the other 1,300 something, or where the other 13,000 something went. Not to you. It went to the MiG, Fig, and Tick, which is fake at the end of the day. To the MiG, Fig, and Tick, military-industrial complex, military-industrial complex, technology-industrial complex, and financial-industrial complex, from which you are not part. And they got ridiculous, super, ultra, duper rich out of the pandemic. While, of course, you were left holding the bag with a bunch of debt that you do have to pay. Let's put that in a parenthesis right now. The way out that they are selling you so you can get off of this situation, because once again, as I said before, I'm gonna repeat it again, they do understand that you do want to be like them, that do not have to trade nothing for money. So, but they do understand too that you cannot be that, because then the whole thing that they do have functioning for themselves collapses and doesn't work anymore. So what they sell you is that you should invest. You should invest on these system, on this laundry machine called Wall Street, which is all fake. It's just the owners of money laundering money for themselves. So they invited you, or they want to invite you to participate on this system. But this is what you don't see. In the event that you are still asleep and are still participating on this, what you're not seeing is that after they tax you to death, by the way, by force, by the way, and if you don't believe me, stop paying your taxes and see who shows up to your door with long guns and black tactical and all that. So after they tax you to death and then they inflate your currency to death again, so what is left after they tax you has less and less and less buying power, then they want you to all that money went to them, by the way. The tax money went to them, and the printing money that they devaluated, the little money that you got left behind after they did all this, they got all that already. So they want you to invest the little money that they left behind so you could live, in which you cannot live anymore. They want you to invest some of that money with them too. And you fall for this because you think in your mind, because all of this is fake. Remember, that's the first phrase that I mentioned when I started the series. All of this is fake. None of it is real. It's a laundry machine. It's a casino in which you will never win. So they take your money through inflation, to taxation. They inflate your buying power to inflation. And then the very little left money, they want you to invest it still again on them. So it's a triple whammo. You see, they're not double dipping, but triple dipping if you participate on this. Otherwise, they are only double dipping, which is enough. With the expectation, remember, they get money at today's price, at face value. They get this money, and then they run away with this money, plus your taxes, plus the inflation through the printing press, and they promise you money, maybe, if everything goes well, 1,000,000 years from now. The reality is that none of this exists. The reality is that whenever they see fit, they create a crisis because, they need all the money. Especially when the system is imploding already and it is collapsing, and it is. And then they create a crisis, and not only they run away with the printing money that they did already throughout all the years, the tax money that they took away from you by force throughout all the years, but then they take away the money that you invested with them throughout all the years, and you get nothing in the end. And then again, they get a bailout. You see? Because it's perfect. It's a 4 dipping. Not 3, for 4. Because then, since it is a private arm of the government, they got the government on their speed dial, and they call and they say, "Oh, we failed. Could you print a trillion, gazillion, whatever amount of money and bail us out? Plus all of the money that you gave us already from the printing press, plus all of the money that you gave us already on taxes, stealing money from these idiots that continue to work for nothing, plus all of the investments that they idiots did, idiots, me included, which I'm not participating, but I don't want you to feel alone on that idiot part. I am with you there. Plus all of that money too, and then bail me out." It's Kafka. This is awesome for them, by the way, not for you and me. You is me, remember. This is awesome, absolutely awesome for them. And then you get into conversations with people like me yesterday. I had this conversation with someone on the internet that still believe that they live in capitalism and there is a meritocracy going on. And if you work hard, you have a chance at achieving the American dream, let's call it. Which I think it should be related to success and financial independence and not being in the in the rat race, but what we usually call here the rat race. Some people are still asleep like that. It's unbelievable. They don't get it. They don't understand it. They don't see where the benefits are going, the production, the surplus are going. They don't see that it's a continuous machine of extraction of the things that we all should be participating into. No. It's just a continuous extraction. And there is nothing for you. With all this push for artificial intelligence and all the other technologies, there are people thinking that eventually we will all participate on that and we will all profit from that and we will all and it is like they are in another universe. They are not seeing what has happened in history up to this point. Every time that a new technology comes into place and accelerates productivity, you are being left with longer hours of work, longer years of work, to the point that now they are trying to extend retirement up to whatever amount of years they like. That's it, like to the thumb. Like you retire when you die. That is the ideal thing, right? Because there is not enough money going around. How come there is no money going around, man? We got a first trillionaire. Where is the money going? How come there is not enough money going around for you to retire earlier, for you to work less, while, of course, making more, because there is more productivity, right? Money flowing, just not to you and not to me, but to them. So they take advantage of these technologies, they put them into place, which is great. It just benefits only them, not you, not me, but them. And you think that they are gonna come with this meta invention, which have the power to reorganize the whole thing, because obviously I cannot. Guys, something that is bigger and better and smarter and faster and all the other physical properties that me cannot serve me. The closest thing that comes to mind that have that capability will be God. God does not serve me. I serve God because I'm not as smart, I'm not as fast, I'm not as strong, I'm not as this, I'm not as that. Okay, good. So how can you pretend that there is gonna be this almighty, all-powerful, God-like thing, which is not, by the way, I'm just inflating things up a little bit. And that thing is gonna serve you, the CEO of whatever meat, fig, and tick thing that is going around, which is fake and gay, by the way. That's crazy. So what's gonna happen is the same things that have happened throughout history again and again and again. Technology will displace people, and the people that are left behind will learn to use that technology not for their benefit, but for the benefits of whoever is employing them. And they will be saddled with working longer hours because now you don't need as much people as the owner, and you can have less people do more work, pay less, and all of that productivity goes to you, the owner. They're not gonna share this with you. They are not, because they have this huge machine on top of them that constantly demands profit for people that invest on that company. So the product's not getting better, the services are not getting better, anything is getting faster. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite. Cars are getting worse, and this is getting worse, and the other thing is getting worse, and food is getting worse, and everything is getting worse, because now it comes to the point that is of diminishing returns, in which you have to stop paying people to do to build the product, because you need part of that salary to report it to the benefactor, the shareholders. And then you not only that, but have to start cutting corners on the actual quality of the product. You have to start spending less to build that product, not only paying the people less, but spending less on building that product, so you can get some of that, and it's artificial, it's unsustainable, and report that to the shareholders again. Otherwise, if you don't report every 3 months, every quarter, if you don't report profits to the shareholders, you are cut off of the money market, of the, the money printing press, as you say. So all of those companies that you see participating in Wall Street, all of those companies that trade publicly, all of them are bankrupt by nature. If every 3 months they don't report profits, they will be cut off of the money printing. They will be denied access to capital, and they will not continue to exist. Every 3 months, they have to do this or die. That is not a good program. Not for you and not for them, by the way. But this is how you have a bunch of parasite zombie companies walking around that are not innovating nothing, that are not getting no one out of poverty, they're barely keeping afloat. Important thing here. Let's put this to the side again. The things that we're talking here, this was the conversation that I had yesterday. I say, by this time, based on the amount of prosperity and money that we generate, if we all will participating on this system, which is not capitalism, by the way, we should be earning minimum wage. We should be earning around $150,000 each. This is minimum wage. You can go up from there, which is still cheap, by the way. This is like rock bottom numbers. And you should be working around until you should be retiring at around 38. That's it. You work hard for 20 years and you retire at 38. You earn all of this money in this time, and you save that money on this time, and that money generates interest on the bank. Not playing with it in the casino on the Wall Street thing, and then the Mick, Fig, and Tick and all the fake gainers thing. No. On the bank, safe. 8-12%. That's what it is. That is the system that your grandparents grew up. That's the system that was taken away from you in 1972. Capitalism is called. It doesn't exist anymore, in the event that you haven't heard it from the last, 50 million times that I said it here and in all the videos. You cannot blame for any of the problems that you have today. All these expenses, all this craziness with prices and volatility, all this unaffordability, that is just them sucking the air out of the room and leaving you in debt and inflation. That is the game. In debt and inflation. And on top of that, the little money, I'm going to say it again, the little money that you're left behind with, they want you to invest. After they did this already, inflation And taxation, they want you to, your little money, they want you to invest it with them too. And when they take that one too, they will call the government and they will get bailout with your money again. And you continue to participate on this. And I get called a socialist or whatever bullshit their names. You do not live in capitalism. You do not live in a meritocracy. It's not about how hard can you work or how well can you do. It's not about community. It's not about respect. It's not about none of that. There is a tiny amount of people that control the supply of money, and they found the private arm so they can rotate between government and private enterprise, which is not private, it's government enterprise. And that creates a beautiful, awesome life for them. Not for you. It's predatory against you and your rights and your life and your prosperity. Important thing now, let's set this aside. Anything and everything that I say here have nothing to do with your ability to start small business and somewhat, beside all the opposition and all the